Most B2B teams are mapping the wrong buyer journey, the invisible part of the journey that most teams miss. I would like to talk about something really important today. Most B2B teams think the buyer journey starts when they see it. A form fill, a demo request, a hand raise. That's when the CRM lights up. That's when the sales jumps in. That's when everyone gets excited. But here's the problem. By the time you see it, you're already late. Let me tell you what's really happening inside most GTM teams right now. Pipeline targets are up, but budgets are low. The leadership has stopped asking how many leads did we get. Instead, they are asking what actually drove revenue. That's a harder question, and most teams can't answer it honestly. Not because they lack data, but because they are trusting the wrong data. Here is how it plays out. A demo request lands in CRM. The marketing team says, "Great, our campaigns worked." The sales team says, "Nice, fresh inbound leads." CRM logs in as day one. But at that moment, that wasn't the beginning. That was just the first moment your team could finally see it. Because the buyer had already been circling, they saw your content, heard your name somewhere, visited your site, left, came back, maybe even talked about you internally before anybody touched the form. The visible moment feels like a start, but it is not. How buyers actually buy. Here's the core insight that changes everything. Buyers don't move through funnels, not really. They move in loops. They notice something, they move on. Run into it again, it feels a little familiar. Then, when the problem gets urgent, they pay closer attention. They check you out properly, and only then they act. That's how real buying decisions happen. Not in one touch, not in one campaign, but in small moments that stack quietly over time. And there are two things that every GTM team needs to understand. One, intent starts earlier than what you think. By the time somebody books a call, they've already formed a view of the problem, of you, and whether you are worth talking to. Number two, trust builds gradually. A name gets familiar, the message feels relevant, a company starts to feel less risky. That's what creates readiness. Not one big moment, but a sequence of small steps. Now let me make this real. A mid-market ops leader sees your post about messy CRM data, doesn't click, doesn't fill out anything. Your dashboard says nothing happened, but it did. Now your company exists in their mind. Days later, they see your brand again. They Google you, land on your site, read a blog, and then leave. Still, nothing happens in your CRM, but something has shifted. They are not just noticing you anymore, they are checking you out. A week later, after an internal meeting about reporting problems, somebody else from the same company visits your pricing page. Then a third person reads a case study. Still, no form fill, no lead. But the buying process has already started. What they are doing, they are reducing the risk. They are asking this question: do these people understand our problem? Are they credible? Can they actually help a team like ours? That's dark loop. Recognition, curiosity, evaluation, and then internal validation. All playing out before you see a single signal in your pipeline. Then one day, somebody books a call. CRM lights up. Sales reacts. That wasn't the start. That was just the first moment your team could finally see it. Let me break down the 5 mistakes that are costing the teams a pipeline right now. Mistake number 1, waiting for the form fill. By the time sales get notified, the buyer has been researching for weeks. You are already showing up late to a conversation that has already started. Mistake number 2, crediting the last click. The final campaign touch didn't create the demand. It just happened to be there at the end. The real work happened earlier and quietly. Mistake number 3, dismissing the anonymous traffic. If somebody visits your site without converting, most teams write it off. But that anonymous visitor, they are the same person who comes back 3 weeks later and books a demo. Mistake number 4, tracking one contact. In B2B, there is rarely one decision maker. There is a whole buying committee, managers, ops, finance, leadership. But most CRM shows only one name. So the team assumes that's the whole story. But it is not. Mistake number 5, and this is a big one. Assuming silence means no interest. It usually doesn't. It just means they are still in the loop, still researching, still comparing, still talking through it internally. Silence is not absence, it is just invisibility. The strategic shift. Stop confusing what you can see with what is actually happening. Your CRM shows the visible moment. Your pipeline shows the reported moment. But the real buying journey started long before either of those appeared. The teams that win won't just generate more leads, they'll be better at reading the patterns earlier, spotting movement before the hand raise, connecting signal before the intent becomes obvious. Stop asking, where did this lead come from? Instead, start asking, what was already happening before we saw it? Because now you are not just tracking lead, you are also learning to read the buying behavior. That's completely different game. In the next video, I'm going to show you how to actually spot the dark loop early. Which signals matter, which ones don't, and how to build a GTM systems that respond before the hand raise happens. If you want to see that, hit the subscribe. We break down modern B2B growth GTM system and signal-led revenue strategies every single week. If you're already thinking about what this could look like for your own team, drop a comment below. I read every one of them. I'm Ritesh Shasta, founder of Insight Tab, and I build AI-driven GTM systems for SaaS and B2B companies. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.